Well, and it kind of comes back to the mindset. I've really been focusing a lot in the last few years. I kind of feel like I've come into myself probably in the last 10 years and realizing limiting beliefs that I had that I didn't even know that's what they were.
That's
So
right.
that was so freeing once I went, oh, that's what that is. But then really making a conscious effort about my mindset, of that, like the invisibleness or just feeling like I don't have a voice. And like you said, reframing it, changing my mindset, I think is so key. Is there anything you would like to share about mindset before we move forward, just as we're on that topic?
Sure. I mean, mindset, I think used to be called positive thinking, right? So this is our new term for mindset.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
but I've never been a
Good
big
point.
believer of just positive thinking.
Right.
Like, if you're walking around saying I'm not good enough, walking around saying I am good enough is not going to do it.
Right.
So it's the key to mindset and to shifting your mindset is you have to find something that's true for you right now, even though you have a more aspirational goal about it. Okay. So let's say you want to be a millionaire. It's not going to work to go, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire.
Right.
But you find a piece that is true about your desire to ascend to that level of income. So what's true? What's true is I've maintained, let's say, a 6-figure practice for all this time. So I know I can make money. Now, what do I need to go for that next piece? And then there's the acting technique of act as if, right? So acting as if is, all right, so if I'm someone who's already there, how would I be behaving? And so you start changing the behavior, which then changes your mind and then changes your action, or the mind to the behavior to the action. And that's how you shift your mindset. And I have had one of the biggest mindset changes of the last 15 years myself during COVID. I told, and then this will be inspiring, I think, for your audience. Like I was starting to experience ageism. My publisher didn't want to do another book. I, wasn't seeing as many speaking engagements, and COVID hit. And, I'm on the couch, my husband and I, 3 p.m. every day going, time for cocktails. I mean, like I gained the COVID-19, which was 19 pounds.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. And then, so that's March. And by June of that year, I'd had enough with the gluttony, enough with everything. And I just made a decision. This is the mindset decision I made. I decided to work with the hypothesis that nothing was coming back. I'm never writing another book. I'm never getting asked to speak. I'm never having a spokesperson job. What do I have? I have my coaching. I still have my coaching. And I made the biggest shifts in what I'm doing with my work, what I'm, doing next with my work. And I made it with the assumption that I'm going to have nothing else. So I have doubled my income in the first 6 months of 2021. I'm set to almost quadruple it by the end of the year. And the speaking engagements and spokesperson work have started coming in, and it's icing on the cake. Like, I don't even care. I've asked them for more money than they've ever paid me. And they're saying yes, because I have nothing to lose now. I know that I don't need them. And there's nothing more powerful. And any negotiation is when you know when you can walk away. That's the only thing that gives you leverage. So when you create your own stability, everything else is gravy. And that was a huge mindset shift.
That is. But you had to have action behind that. So may I ask, what was a couple actions that you took once you made that major shift of, okay, if I don't have this, you had to have something behind it, right? You must have, like, the head of an action. So would you, just a couple of things that you did?
Sure. I mean, I took advantage of the SBA loans that were being, lent. And I said, okay, SBA loan, great. Here's an infusion of capital, right? Let's talk business terms.
Yeah.
When things are not, when things are low, you don't have money to invest in your business and to get to do something that would be helpful. So I took an SBA loan. I made the biggest single investment I've ever made into my business at one time. I joined a high-level coaching program. I made that investment back in 1 month. That's how much I grew in 1 month. And I had to put some infrastructure in place. Like, I had to get some more up-to-date computer stuff in place. I decided to put my Now What coaching, longstanding 15 years as a career coach. I decided to create an online program for it, video based. And that, was a big input of time and money to get those videos all done. But that's what kicked off the income increases. Once those products were done and I knew how to do it, we've been on a great trajectory. And I've since added a second business, because I just don't do things small. And was like, after 25 years, I did a lot with the coaching profession in the beginning. I helped found the International Coach Federation. I traveled all over the world to get coaching to happen. My books were written with the intention of spreading coaching. Like, I didn't ever intend to write a book for myself for any fame reason or anything. It was like, me, why me? Okay, I'll write it for the coaching profession. And then I wanted to not be coaching coaches all the time, because it's very different than coaching the public, because coaches want a lot of, help me with this. How do I do that? How do I write a book? So I, for 20 some odd years, mostly worked with the public and executives and homemakers, anybody. And I'm now just turning back to the coaching world and going, hey, I've got a lot to share about how you do this, how you do it as a one-person show, how you scale it if you want to make it bigger. So I added a second business post-COVID too. And again, all of that action, also men, right? There's another thing for any size business owner. I always had an assistant. Like, I knew since 25 years ago that I couldn't do this alone, but I added a whole new team with that business loan. And the loan is a no-brainer now. Like, I can pay that loan back tomorrow, not a big deal, but I had to put all that investment in to do it. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck is, I was very happy with my practice and my work and my income level. But when you're ready to go bigger, you can't do it alone. There's just no way.
Right. Back in our conversation, you were talking about that mindset and just the reframing and evolving. And I really want to encourage the younger women that are coming up, even if they're just coming out of high school. What's some encouraging words that you have for them, as far as, like, we've been encouraging the mature women right now about the mindset and reframing, but how can we translate that to the younger generation to encourage them? Like, they can see what's ahead, they see the struggles, but what are some things we can give tools to them so that they can apply now? Because, they're going to make their own mistakes, right? But what can we share with them to encourage them as they start this personal and professional path to maturity and womanhood?
Yeah. There's things that we all have to do when we're coming up, like, don't think you're too good to do X, Y, or Z. If that's what you have to do to get where you want to go, or learn something, or meet somebody, or network somehow, like, you have to do the grunt work, or whatever you want to call it. Like, you have to do what you have to do. There comes a time, probably early 30s, where you realize, okay, what got me here is not going to get me there. And that's when you stop being misreliable to everybody and you start really sticking up for yourself. But I think that, that there are generations that are like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, you know what? Nobody starts out doing the ultimate of what they set out to do. I was an intern in a casting director's office, and I had to file, the pictures in alphabetical order by the actors' names. And that, you could look at that as grunt work. I looked at it as, I read all these people's resumes, and I could see, who presented themselves well, who did stuff that was impressive, who tried to make it like they were impressive. I made it a learning thing. Yeah. Right. And to this day, I have run into two actors who I touched their little resumes back in 1980 something. And I'm like, I know you. Right. So you just never know. That's what I'm trying to say is, do whatever it takes to get where you want to go. And if you don't know where you want to go, that's okay too. I think it's incredibly unfair that we by 16 years old, we're sophomore year, we're telling them, got to decide what your major is, and you got to, And now kids see the level of debt that you get into to go to college, and is it worth it? So I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I'm okay with people slowing it down, like take a gap year, or be an intern for a year. Try something before you go and spend a gazillion dollars on an education in it. And that's unusual, that's unconventional, but I am all about the unconventional. Write your own path and don't be afraid by the pressure from other people, because truly they're not the ones who have to figure it out. It'll be you. So don't, you're stuck with the mess. So don't let everyone be telling you what to do. So that's my thoughts for the younger generation, especially if we're talking right out of college.
Yeah.